F1 pre-season testing came alive in Barcelona today on the penultimate day of running. We saw Red Bull introduce a significant upgrade package. Ferrari woke up with Sebastian Vettel setting its fastest time of testing so far, and Lewis Hamilton stopped on track with a Mercedes engine problem. Huge amount to talk about today, and we also want to hear what you have to say in the comments below. But Gary, Red Bull, new parts, how significant, how much might they gain?
Well, I think they're going to bring parts each day and also have parts for Melbourne, because your development program has started probably a month ago, 6 weeks ago, just getting the parts made, to be honest. You have to at some point in time decide this is the car we're going to initially test, and then that development program is coming along behind the scenes. So they're just bearing the fruits of that now. They had a new bars board package, which is to be a bit more aggressive in the way it turns the airflow going around the front corner of the side pod to try and help the underfloor work better. They're sort of like the underfloor is all one piece, but there's like two areas. The front corner of the underfloor works from the barge board, scavenging that part of the floor quite dramatically, and then that allows the diffuser to work on the rest of the floor. So they've made a more aggressive barge board there. Some little turning vanes on the bib underneath the nose. Slight change to the front wing rear flap profile, very small, and some small details I think on the rear brake duct. So it's just bits coming all the time. If you get it all right, you could be looking at maybe 0.2 of a second if you're lucky. But 0.2 of a second in Formula One is vitally important.
And Scott, Ferrari, we haven't seen them set many lively times so far in testing. Their overall time is still some way off, but it wasn't a very quick day today. But have we got a better feel for what Ferrari is up to, where their pace might be? Do you feel like you know slightly more than you did yesterday?
Well, at least we know that they're at the very least quicker than they've shown so far, but we did know that already, so that isn't a huge revelation in itself. Ferrari insists that they're going about their program normally and not trying to hide anything, but their rivals Mercedes and Honda over on the Red Bull side of things, they're really not convinced that Ferrari's not hiding something on the engine side. What we've seen so far, I think it's a healthy lap count today as much as anything else, and putting them in a position where they've set their fastest time so far. It's obvious that it is a step forward in terms of what we've seen in terms of tangible evidence that Ferrari is a bit more at the races, but there's still loads more time to be found. So I certainly wouldn't say that this is suddenly emphatic proof that Ferrari's right in the mix and is going to top the test or anything like that. I just think it's that gradual migration towards what we're expecting to see on the final day, which is everyone go out and actually see some proper qualifying runs. We did see a proper race sim from Ferrari today, so be interested to get into that and see how that stacks up to what we've seen so far. But yeah, a little bit more evidence of what exactly Ferrari's got to play with.
And Gary, Lewis Hamilton ground to a halt, parked up coming out of turn 5 in the middle of the afternoon, was never seen again, disappeared into the garage. Obviously they're trying to get the car up and running again. They said it was an oil pressure related problem, which can mean a great deal of different things. Should they be concerned, given that Williams has had a couple of engine changes and there was a bit of a problem with the MGU-H that led to some countermeasures being deployed across the Mercedes engines for this test?
Well, I think they're all on the limit a little bit, and what Mercedes would probably do, engine department would probably do, is to run one of their sister teams or their customer teams with the engine spec that they like to prove is okay. And maybe that's just why Williams are having a couple of problems. I'm sure the works team aren't exactly turning the knob to volume 10 yet, because they want to get the running done, but they also have to experiment with somebody else, and they have that opportunity. I think Ferrari are probably doing exactly the same with somebody like Haas or Alfa Romeo. Let them run the engine to destruction if necessary, and just see what happens. But would you be worried about the problem today? I mean, it's better to happen now than it is in Melbourne, so that's step one. It didn't look like it was, half a crankshaft came through the side of the block that caused the oil pressure problem. It could just be a simple thing like a sensor. I know Red Bull have had a few sensor problems, but better now than in Melbourne.
It does shatter the illusion a little bit that Mercedes runs like clockwork at testing and never experiences any problems, but this isn't the first time it's happened during testing so far. It's the second time now there's been a small glitch that has caused them to end their running early. So there is a setback, but this is still ultimately the best prepared team up and down the grid if you look at mileage. So I would put it as a setback for Mercedes, certainly one they don't want when there are the power unit issues that you've mentioned so far. But as Gary said, it's better to happen here. They haven't turned everything up to 10 yet, so wait and see what comes out of them on the final day.
But Gary, we are seeing everything closing up a bit. as I mentioned, the conditions weren't great. As people can probably see, it's quite windy here in the paddock. This is not perfect conditions for driving a Formula One car, but we are now starting to see a consistent picture with Mercedes, with Red Bull, with Ferrari, certainly closer than the time suggested in the first test.
Yes, a little bit closer, to be honest. I didn't see Ferrari. They did try the very soft tyre, the C5 as such. I'm doing all my times based on the C3 because that's the tyre that most teams have been running. They didn't get as big an advantage out of the C5 as some other cars have got, or out of the C4 even. So there's still something in there. I'm not sure that their Ferrari, is as quick as being just simply the top three, because Racing Point are doing a very good job. They're putting in some decent lap times, and they're doing it on the C3 tyre. They're not trying to confuse themselves too much at the minute. So I think tomorrow will be a decent day, because James Allison has said, they're going to try some performance running tomorrow, which is obviously what we want to see. And that performance run will still probably be a 30 kilogram fuel load, which is a second around here. You just need to make sure that you're seeing those steps being taken. You normally can see whenever a driver goes out to do a lap time, because he doesn't do that many laps after it. He might do a fast lap, a slow lap, a fast lap, maybe one more of those again, and that will be it. So sort of 6-lap run. So we'll try and work out the best times from that. But I'm not sure we're going to see Ferrari yet nipping at the heels of Mercedes.
Well, we'll see some more cards on the table tomorrow, the last day of testing, and then they'll be off to Australia for the first race of the season. Loads of talking points tomorrow, and as I said, we'd love to hear your comments down there on what you think's going on in testing. Please do subscribe, like this video if you enjoy it, and also head to our website, therace.com, and don't forget the hyphen.